Okay, this is the yolk, and I've just sewn around the edge here, and now I'm going to turn it inside out. I've sewn around the edge and I've just clipped. See here, I've clipped it all. Now this helps that when I turn it inside out, it will lay flat, and it won't pucker. Alright, so I'll just turn it inside out and I'll top stitch it. Okay, as per our sewing instructions, we've done number 1. We've sewn the inside of the yoke. We've snipped it around here and I've turned it inside out. And as you can see now, I've just pinned it and I'm going to top stitch, but I've also put a pin on the center points on the shoulder and on the yoke top, so we'll do that in the next step. So now I'm just going to top stitch around the neckline. Okay, the next step is number 3. We're going to find the center front fold of our bodice top, and here we have our bodice top, and I've just put a pin in the center front, and what we're going to do is then pin the sides, both sides over here to the yoke, and we're going to pleat. So here you can see there's the center front, and I've pleated along here to match up to the yoke, and I have about 5 pleats. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 5. It all depends on what your bust measurement is. Okay, so now I'm going to sew across there and overlock it on both sides. Okay, now I'm just sewing in those pleats, and I'll keep going and I'll show you when I've finished. Okay, so I've stitched all the pleats in place, as you can see here, and then I've overlocked on the top just to neaten up the edges. And now we'll move on to the sleeve. Okay, so the next step now is the sleeve, which you will see here, the sleeve and the band. And what we're doing is pinning the center on both, and then we're going to put in some pleats. So here you can see I have the sleeve. Here's the center pin on the sleeve, and here's the pin on the center of the band. So we pin those two together, and then it should look like this once you've put the pleats in. So here's your center pin, and I've got 3 pleats on this one there, and there's the end of the sleeve. There you go, and I'll just turn it over so you can see the band. So there is the band, and now we're going to sew across. Alright, so I've sewn those 3 pleats into place, and I've turned it over. So there we go, there's the pleats in place, and what we're going to do now is we're just going to tuck in the band, just pin it into place, just 3 pins from the middle and 2 on the sides, and that's just to hold the band in place. We won't sew it in yet because we have to sew the sleeve onto the top of the dress, and then we will sew the sides, so that's coming up next. Okay, so now we're going to pin the sleeve to the top of the dress, and you can see here I've placed my pin at the center fold of the sleeve, and I'll show you how I have pinned. So I've now pinned the sleeve across the top of the dress, and I will do the other side and sew it and then show you. Here you can see I've put a pin on the wrong side of the shoulder, and we're going to line that up with the sleeve and then pin in across to fit the top, the sleeve on the top. Okay, so I've sewn the sleeve onto the top, as you can see, and I've also overlocked it here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to sew down the side, starting from the cuff, which is here. So we're going to just pin it all in place along here, making sure that the underarm sides both meet up and are even, and then down the side of the top, and I'll pin that in place and show you. Okay, as you can see, I've now pinned the side, both sides, and I've made sure that the seam where the cuff is, or the band is, they both meet up, and also the underarm, they both meet up on both sides, and then pinned it all the way down to the end. And I've done that on both sides, as you can see, all the way. So now we will just sew down the side here and then overlock it. Okay, just a little tip. Now that I've sewn down the sides here, just a little tip to snip the corner of the band, so that when we fold over the band and go to sew it, it'll be won't be so bulky to sew. And the same down here on the underarm, I've just snipped it, just there and there, so when I overlock it, it'll stretch out more. And this is also good, so it won't be all bulky when you turn it inside out, or the right way. Okay, so I have overlocked the side of the top all the way down from the band to the underarm, down the side, and then on the bottom of the top I have also overlocked, so we have a nice neat edge. Alright, so now what we've got to do is, as you can see up here, I've just snipped the corner of the band, and then we're going to fold that over and sew it into place. Okay, so here I have the band all pinned up and ready to sew. Okay, we're going to sew the band. Whoops. Okay, just going to sew this band into place. Okay, so now we have the completed top with the band sewn into place, all the neckline and everything, the pleats from the yoke to the bodice, the other side of the sleeve, and it's all finished. Nice and neat all along the bottom. Where is it? There, so you can see it's all nice and finished. So now we have to sew the sides of the skirt, and then I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now we've sewn our top, and we have to now attach the skirt to the top. So what I have done here is I have sewn the sides of my skirt, the two pieces together, and I have overlocked the top, and I have also hemmed the bottom, so it's all nicely neat here and hemmed up. Okay, so now I'm going to iron it and actually fold this part over by so much. Where are we? So about an inch, or not quite an inch, about so much. I'm going to iron that all the way around the top, and then I'm going to put some pins on it. And I'll show you that in a minute. I haven't put this on the instruction sheet, but when you cut out the bodice piece, this piece, when you cut it out, you'll have a piece left on the side. I normally just trim it up, make sure it's all nice and even, and then I sew the pieces together. You can see the material here, so there's a length of material that I've used. I hem it and then sew the lace on one end, overlock the other end and tuck it under, iron it, and then I quarter it and pleat it all the way around the neck. So that gives me a nice frill on my dress. If you need more on this, you can just give me a buzz and I'll talk you through it. So we'll just sew that into place, and I, like normal, I sew one row to attach and the other row to lock in the pleats. Okay, I'm finished sewing the frill on, so you can see how I've sewed 2 rows. One row is to attach the frill, and the other row is to lock in the pleats all the way around the neckline. And you can use whatever lace you want, as long as it looks nice and you're satisfied with it. Okay, so now we're going to do the last part of the dress, and that's to attach it to the 2 pieces together, top and bottom. As you can see, we've got the finished top here, and what I've done is I've ironed, I don't know if you can see, there's a crease line here, so I've ironed a crease line, and that's just a guide so you know where to place the bottom, the skirt. And I've done the same, I've just ironed it over here, and that just makes sure that we have a nice edge. And I've also pinned the center of the top and the quarter part as well, there and there. Okay, so what I've done now is I've pinned together the top and bottom on each quarter mark. So there's 1 quarter mark, and where is it? Yeah, so there's the first quarter mark there, and the other one is just under here. So what I've got now is the tape measure, and I've just put it there on the side seam, and I've placed it where the first quarter mark is. So what we're going to do is we're going to pin pleats between here, and normally I do them about 1 inch apart, and then I tuck in 1/4 inch. I'll just do that now. So the first quarter, you can see here I've pinned it all. It's all in place now, and I will go around and then complete the rest. Okay, so I've pinned the whole skirt around to the top of the dress, and now I'm going to sew. So the first row and then the second row. Okay, so I've now completed my dress, got the frill on the top of the dress, and you can see here I've just finished sewing around the skirt, 2 rows, and that's the completed dress. Okay, happy sewing.